Another Les Paul Jr. And yes, it is a Les Paul Jr. It's got a very, very subtle bookend on it. Very subtle. But it says Talent. Talent is a Gibson Baldwin brand. You might tell by the brand on the strap. Gibson Baldwin. Another budget line aimed towards schools and students. And I just saw this one and I love the finish. But you know what? Got the humbucker. And I've been having such a great time with Guitar Fetish and their pickup. Let's put a P90 in this one. So if you would like to learn how to convert a Les Paul Jr. from a humbucker to a dog ear P90, this is the video for you. So let's get started. I'm going to get the strings off this old boy. This tailpiece off. Okay, I'm going to be replacing everything on this. So these steps are a little more drastic than you would need to take if you were just doing the pickup. Okay, now I'm going to replace the pots on this as well. So I'm going to take all the electronics out, everything. Someday I'll buy a wrench for this that actually fits instead of these crooked needle nose pliers, which don't work great. Got nice wood grain in the back. It's sweet. I have to admit, I have an addiction for the Les Paul Juniors, especially these cheap ones. Again, this is a Gibson Baldwin, but it's a beautiful instrument. I like it. There's a first look at the electronics in that. Just knocked my router off the table. That's okay. Those things are pretty resilient, I hope. Okay, they were using 500K on both the volume and tone. Okay, white was indeed the tip. Okay. Okay. Okay, today's pickup comes to us from Guitar Fetish, and this is the KPE16, the dog ear Alnico vintage wound pickup. Okay, white is ground and red is the signal hot. Red is hot. Dog ear will not fit in this hole. So as you can see, this will not fit that. So this is where I get dangerous. Now, to be absolutely certain, a template would be the right way to do this. I don't happen to have one, so I'm going to freehand it like I normally do. If you don't have a router, you could use a chisel to cut this out. You can also get little router attachments for Dremels. I've used those too. They work in a pinch, but this was super cheap and it works. So I like it. These are my safety glasses, Norm Abram. Okay, a little more. At this point, it's actually seated in there. I just want to clean it up a little bit, and also just so I can cover as much of the original hole as possible, just so I can kind of ease it in there. So let me just do a couple little passes here to clean this up, and I'll essentially be done with the retrofit. I'm probably going to need to cut a shim, but that's okay. Be right back. Okay, so I've spared you the boring details of me shielding the cavities of this guitar, but it turned out pretty nice, and I definitely think it makes a difference. I've also spared you from the tedious detail of me making this spacer for the P90, and it'll give it a little height, but it's more so to cover up the hole left from the humbucker. And it's still got the protective plastic on it, so it looks a little ratty. But yeah, I made this out of a piece of pickguard material that I bought for making these specifically. I'll put a link in the description down below. One sheet will go a long way, especially if you're just making these. Even if you're making larger pickguards, I think you get 2 or 3 out of one sheet easily. Link in the description. I want to make sure that I get my quick connect wire threaded through the body. And there we go. We are quick connected. So it is a nice system. Once I solder this onto my new pots, if I want to change out this P90 for a different variety, all I got to do is unplug her. So I'm going to go ahead and hold and drill. To ensure I wasn't going too far, but I'm not concerned about that. What's left of the protective material off. And this spacer is by no means perfect, but I made it, and you make do with what you have at the time. So I'm quick connected. I know I'm good on that one now. Now have a P90 where a humbucker once lived. And if that's all you're doing is just replacing the pickup, you're done. You can solder the quick connect onto the pots the way the old one came off. And if you're doing like me and replacing the pots with larger pots, then I'll show you how to do that next. The completed and reassembled, almost reassembled. And I put the output jack back in. I hand tightened the potentiometers. I did have to use a reamer to make the holes a little bigger for those to fit. I'm going to try a different circuit for the capacitor. 50 style wiring. And from what I've read, it incorporates the volume and tone. They work in conjunction with each other. So increasing the volume will do something to the tone and vice versa. I don't know. I just want to see how it sounds. So we'll do vintage 50 on this one. Fire up the iron. I love this soldering station that I have. If I can find it on Amazon, I'll put a link on it. It heats up like that. I mean, turn it on, and I just turned it on, and the light's on, and now it's off. It's ready to use. That's incredible. So in the 50s, the cap goes, the tone is going to be grounded in the center and not the other lug like it normally would be. God, that can't be good for you. It just can't. That's a pretty ground solder. I like that. And let's bring all our grounds together. One final wire. And that's it. Wiring is complete. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this little guitar adventure as we modified this lovely guitar from Gibson Baldwin, the Talent Les Paul Jr. We've installed a Guitar Fetish P90 pickup. It's going to sound great, I'm sure. We've installed some new hardware, including the new potentiometers, some 500K audio pots for both the volume and tone, with the capacitor configured in a 50s vintage style. And that sound you hear is me keep hitting the microphone with the headstock. Annoying. Sorry about that. And next time you see me, we're going to be making some noise with this thing. Alright, I am back, and the Talent guitar is strung up and ready to go. Let's give it one more final tuning here. Okay, I put on a set of Super Slinkies, 9s. I like them. I figured on this guitar it would be good. And I got the action dialed down pretty low, and it could go lower. The tuners are okay. Anyhow, it's just a cool looking guitar. It's a Les Paul Jr. It's got Gibson on the faceplate, so I can call it a Les Paul. Cool, huh? Well, let's take a listen.
love the way that sounds. The high end is high, and it's high in a really nice way, a nice sparkly way. I'm just playing through that Fender Frontman 25R, real clean, no reverb at all. A little bit of delay from a Boss ME50. Love the finish on this, I really do. What a beautiful instrument. Talent by Gibson Baldwin. Well, I'd like to thank you for watching today. If you enjoyed the content and you want to see more like it, I encourage you to subscribe, hit the bell, the notifications, the stuff you're supposed to do. Comment in the video, tell me what you think of the old guitar and what guitars I should try to do next. I really appreciate you watching, make it this far. Until next time, take care and peace!